Hey everybody, how's it going? Joe's Neon here. Listen, I got a really nice response on my last video about some of the new gear that I was running this springtime, trying it out at my campsite, and I showed the Jute Twine match. And I would like to show you folks how to make a Jute Twine match because so many folks requested a video on seeing a do-it-yourself on how to do this. This is the Jute Twine match. Here's one that is completed. And I'm going to take you through the process of making one of these and showing you, again, how to use one if you haven't watched the video. So let's get to it. It's really simple. Some of the things you're going to need, obviously, you're going to need Jute Twine. Pair of scissors, drill bit, piece of sandpaper, something to cut your brass tubing with, and a piece of buckskin. And over here I've got paraffin wax. This is a really slick system. It's a coffee cup warmer. This is what you would set a coffee cup on to keep it warm. So anyhow, what we got to do first is we have to prepare our jute twine so that we can get it soaked in paraffin wax to create the wick for our candle. So let's do that first. What we want to do is we want to pull off about, geez, I don't know. These are inches here. That way, let's go about 18 inches. And then we're going to fold that in half. And we're going to pull another 18 inches. Okay. Then we're going to cut that off. And then we're going to take another piece that's going to be 18 inches long, the same as the other two we just cut. What we're doing is we're setting ourselves up here to braid. Okay? It's called a French braid. If this demonstration doesn't work for you, you can go online, and it's very, very simple thing to do. So don't get frustrated by it. It's very simple. Anyhow, what I've got is my looped piece of two 18-inch pieces, and I've got my single 18-inch piece. That gives me 3 strands. You have to have 3 strands to do the French braid. Okay, now what I do is I take this and I just tie it in an overhand knot. Just like that. Okay, I'll have the one end coming out that was a single strand and the loop from my double tied pieces. Okay, so I have 3 strands here. That's what you need to use to braid this jute twine. Now I'll come over here and I'll just take and I'll slide this right over the knob I use on my vise. It works perfect. And I'm just going to show you really quick how to French braid. Okay, it's so simple. You're always going to have 3 lines. You're going to have 2 outside lines, and you're going to have 1 on the inside, okay? So every time you make a weave, it's over with an outside. Doesn't matter which outside, it's always over with an outside. So here's our first move, okay? Here we go. Over. Now we have a new middle one. This outside next. You just alternate outside lines and over the top. Okay? See what I'm doing? I'm just creating a braid. Okay? Whoop. Outside over. See? 3 over from the outside over the center one. 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 And you just keep going. Guys, if you were smart when you were a kid, you would have learned how to do this because the girls love their hair braided. Worked for me. Okay? See where we're going with this? Okay? Now, I'm not going to braid this whole piece. I've got a piece braided. But when you get to the end, what you do is you take the two outside pieces and you tie them in an overhand knot. The two outside pieces in an overhand knot, and that stops your braid. Okay, can you see that? Okay, braided jute twine, 3 strands, outside over the middle, outside over the middle, outside over the middle, just alternate. Okay, now I've got a piece here that's finished up, and what we want to do is we want to get it soaking in the paraffin so that we can really get it good and impregnated with wax. But I'm thirsty here, so you get to look at the Axe collection while I have a PBR set. Hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so here's where we're at. We're going to go ahead and take, here's a braided piece I have completed. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is trim it up a little bit. I'm going to take this one tag end off. And again, this is our loop, just like I showed you. And our piece that we tied in. I'm just going to cut that off. I like that little loop on there. I think it's kind of cool. And then I trim these ends off. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and I'm going to wind my jute twine up here. And I'm just going to, look at that. Look at that. See those air bubbles just rush right out of that? Oh, man. And we're just going to let that soak right in that nice warm wax. Now next, we're going to cut our brass tubing, okay? Now, I don't know. I kind of like to cut mine a little bit shorter than the length of a Sucrets tin because this makes a really nice fire kit setup. I've got a ferrocerium rod, and I've got my jute match. So I think I'm going to do that again. And I'll take a Sharpie. I like that right there. Put a little mark on it. I got my little pipe cutter here. Put it on the mark. Tighten her down. These are really great because, you know, it's folks like Dave Canterbury that talk about using sustainable fire sources. You know, these are so nice because even if you light it with a lighter, you can hold it like this. A lighter, you have to hold like this and burn your thumb and try and get in here. And when you'll see the way that you can manipulate this match, it's such a beautiful thing. And these are from the colonial days. These are from the late 1600s. They were using these, and they made them in different lengths so that they could light candles. And as a matter of fact, the original lamp lighters that would light the street lamps in the cities had very long versions of exactly what I'm making right now. Okay? It's just a sustainable source of fire. All right, now we've got our tube cut here. We're going to take the drill bit, and all we do is just kind of ream it out a little bit like that. That just makes it flow through in and out a little bit better. Now, if you're really slick and you've got a flanging tool, You know, you can use brake line for this also. You don't have to use brass tubing. This is just a very colonial way of doing it. Just sticking to a little bit of tradition. But you want to do that so it doesn't catch on your jute twine. You're just flaring it a little bit, so it's nice and smooth there, so that it can slide in and out. A flanging tool is really nice if you have one to do that. Now what I'll do is I'll take a piece of sandpaper and I'm going to just sand a little bit, scratch up the end right here on the tubing so that I can put a little handle on it, just in case I gotta leave that match lit for a little while and I need something to hold on to. So I'll go ahead and I'll cut a strip of this buckskin here. All right, and I'll put a little bit of glue on it. And we'll just stick that puppy right on there. Tighten her up a little bit. And just snip off the excess. Little dab of glue there. This stuff dries clear. I don't know if you guys use this stuff at all. Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. Wow. This stuff is good stuff. Works great. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe that down, and that'll dry nice and tight. It's actually not sticking very well for me. It will though. Use this stuff all the time. Works great on leather. It's really good for leather. Why are you fighting me? All right, well, we're not going to mess with that right now. I'll put the handle on it later. Okay. All right, so we got our tube cut, right? And we got our jute twine soaking here. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the jute twine out. And we're just going to let it cool to room temperature. I didn't plan on that for the video. For the time it was going to take for the glue to set up to do my little handle. But that's okay. I can always put that on after, and so can you. So yeah, there you go. There's your jute twine that's soaked in wax. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to let that cool for a little bit. All right. And I think I'll cheat here and come over here. Right, folks? When in doubt, I'll get you a little handle on here in no time. I don't know. Sometimes things just don't always go as planned. You ever notice that? Especially when it comes to making videos. You know? And you really hate to have to start over again. And that's why that's not going to happen for this video. We're just going to keep rolling this because I'm doing such a great job already. Okay, we got a little bit way too much on there. This stuff is crazy. This Gorilla Super Glue. I really like it. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good. See, all that does is that insulates so that, you know, if you have to leave the match lit for any certain amount of time, you got a place to hold it, okay? So that because this brass will get hot. Brass conducts, So yeah, it'll get hot. So anyhow, in the meantime here, yeah, more axe porn, more axe porn. Crazy. Okay. Here we go. We don't need that no more. Now, we got our jute twine. It's cooling down. Okay, it's still a little bit warm. And that's just what we want. All right, just a little bit warm. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the knot off that we tied. See that knot right there that we tied? Cut that right off. And we're going to roll it in our hands, just like this. And that just makes it nice and round. See how that? Now we'll just go ahead and we just work it right into the end of the tubing. Just like so. You might have to roll it a little bit to get it really compact so it doesn't fight you going in there. You know, you have to roll it a little because it's expanded from the wax. See how fuzzy it is? If you roll it a little bit in your fingers and kind of compact it, it'll shrink. See that? And then it'll slide in there much easier. And then before you know it, hopefully, here she comes. It comes right out the end. All right, you see that? There you go. Now you got yourself a jute twine match. Again, you can roll this jute twine in your hand, or you can even roll it, you know, like on a hard surface like this, and really compact it. Makes it a lot easier for it to feed in and out. Okay? So that's how you go ahead and make yourself a jute twine match. Let's go ahead and fire this puppy up, all right? Get our ferrocerium rod and striker out. Now it's brand new, and this is important, okay? What we have to do is we have to take and shred this into fine fibers. Many ways you can do this. I like to use the tip of a knife and just really fluff it out. See how I fluff that out? Now if I just simply take my ferro rod there it is. There's your match. Okay? You need more flame? All you gotta do is feed a little more out. Just by rotating it and feeding it. See, your flame is going to get bigger. You want it smaller. But this just allows you to be able to move around, light different spots, you know, in a wood stove. These are great for a wood stove. Maybe you want to make it that long for your wood stove, you know. If that's the case, you might need a little bit of help pulling the jute twine through. You might have to spend a little bit more time rolling it really flat, or use a little bit bigger tubing. You know, you kind of got to play with that. But I just think it's a brilliant idea. I love it. I'm going to be using it in the woods this year. It's just kind of a neat thing. They're fun to make. I really see them. It would really last you quite some time. Geez. You know, that's a lot of wax jute twine right there. So anyhow, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. You know what? I might as well add the fact that if you want to put it out, just pull it back into the tube. I'd also like to add the fact that they're waterproof. This right here, you can throw it in the water, you can throw it in the lake, and you will absolutely have no problem starting a fire with ferrocerium rod. So even if you want to get a little bit more burn time out of a lighter, all you gotta do, feed a little bit of your match out, just go ahead and light it. Yep. Get it out a little bit further there. And there you go. You know? They're handy. And you know, actually folks, they're really nice around the house. If you want to make a longer one that you can actually use for lighting candles, they're really handy for lighting deep candles. They work great for that. So, I don't know folks, hope you enjoyed, and thanks for asking. Glad to shoot the video. Hope all is good, and I'm going to be back really soon with a really cool video on doing a dry aged steak. So hang in there folks. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me a comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.